a very complex phenomenon, but in many situations, its behavior can be understood with a simple model based on rays and wave fronts. Light is a form of energy, and while it can bounce and be conserved, it can also bend by being slowed down. In particular, we'll use rays and wave fronts to analyze how light interacts with mirror and lenses.
Hi, I am Leila Gomez and I am a photographer and a videographer for La Estrella Verde, the official senior high school publication of DLSUD. Right now, I have a Canon 500D. I mean, it's been with me for like 7 to 9 years. I cannot really remember, but it can already be considered as an old camera these days with all the models that has been released. But I also have different types of tawag dun? I have different types of tripod. Then sometimes in LEV we're using different types of ano video materials to be able to stabilize the video. But I think the most important equipment that we have is the different types of light that we use so that we'll be able to get a perfect picture, especially when we're doing portrait or we're doing landscape. The importance of light in photography is that it really gives a certain distinct feel when you're taking a photo. Sometimes there are different types of light options when you're using a camera, especially when you're hearing the word ISO or shutter speed. The ISO is a bigger scale of using light in a photo, and its smaller scale is shutter speed. So for when you're taking photos in a dark place, you need to have a higher ISO. But when you're going to adjust the shutter speed, you're going to adjust it on a much lower basis, like 1/45 or 1/20. Whereas when you're in bright places, you can use higher shutters. You can use higher ISO and higher shutter speeds, like 1/4000 and different types of stuff. Okay. How is light utilized? I think a lot of photographers are not using light. I mean, are not using light to be against the photo that they're taking. They're using light to be able to give more emphasis to the objects, especially when they're shooting in daylight or in shadowed places. Light plays a very important role when you're taking a photo.
Lenses are all about refraction. If you want to create an image, you need to be able to focus all of the incoming rays into a single point. If we can direct each beam of light by bending it slightly, then the light will focus into a single point. This is exactly what a lens does. When a lens is created, there are two main factors in its design: the refractive index of the material, which is how much a material slows down the beam, and the angle of incidence. The greater the angle of incidence, the more bending occurs. This is why wide-angle lenses, which need to bend the light a long way, have such a bulging appearance. The color of the objects we see in the natural world is the result of the way objects interact with light. When the light strikes an object, it can be absorbed, reflected, or transmitted by the object. All objects have a degree of reflection and absorption. It is due to the selective reflection, and sometimes due to the transmission, that gives color to different surfaces. All three of the properties have different use in the photography industry. Reflection amounts to the ambient nature of natural light. Sun is the only major source in nature, but most surfaces reflect light that comes from the sun, acting as pseudo sources. It is also used in making reflection, which is the basis of how we see colors, and it is used in bounce-off flash. Transmission is the basis of making equipment like diffusers, filters, and gels. Absorption is mainly used to block light for subtractive lighting.
Absorption, where light stops at the object and does not reflect or refract. The objects appear dark or opaque, and the energy thus absorbed manifests as heat. It is useful in subtractive lighting techniques. Diffuse transmission. It is when light goes through a transparent or semi-transparent object with texture. Another property of light, which is commonly known as the bending of light, is refraction, where light goes through the object and it bends at an angle. Example of a material that exhibits refraction of light is diamond and water.
Color temperature is the color of the light. It depends on the source of the light that is producing it. When the source of light is not completely white, the whites in the image comes out tinted. For example, a white paper will look yellow in a yellow tungsten light. White balance is adjusting the setting in the camera to compensate for the colored light. So as the name suggests, it is adjusting to get the right white. In most of the cameras, there are inbuilt presets for different type of common lights like tungsten, flash, shade, and daylight. Sunlight is neutral with a temperature of around 500 K, and the temperatures below it contains warm tones like red, orange, and yellow. The temperature above 500 K belongs to cool tones like blue and magenta. Light consists of 7 different colors. When all the different wavelengths belonging to different colors combine, it produces white light. Color, as we see in the universe, is the result of selective reflection and selective transmission of light. It is in principle effect of the light waves that come from the object to our eyes. These waves can be the result of reflection, transmission, or maybe the object is the light source. So that is it, we see colors in the object due to the light waves coming from them. Relative size of the light source with respect to subject renders the light source as hard or soft. Hard light has more contrast, accentuate the texture, and gives a more decisive feel in the photograph. Soft light in turn has less contrast, which makes the surface look smooth and gives a more moderate feel. In a way, you can see hard light as black or white and soft light as the midtones between the extreme blacks and whites of hard light. Diffuse light is soft light as light scatters and the effective size of light source increases. Although the characteristics of light as an electromagnetic wave don't change whatever the source, for practical purposes in photography, we make the distinction of natural or artificial light. In general terms, the light from sources not made by mankind is termed as natural light, and light from sources which are constructed by human beings is termed as artificial light. In natural light, sun is the only source, but it bounces off from so many surfaces resulting in a wraparound lighting. So sunlight behaves more like an omnidirectional light as compared with artificial light. Artificial light is much directional. Due to inverse square law, all light should fall with distance, but due to the distance of sun and earth, any small increment we do on earth is negligible. Light exhibits the behavior of both a particle and a wave. As a wave phenomenon, a light wave can have vibrating waves in all directions, like horizontal, vertical, and even in between. When reflected from a flat surface like water, most of the light aligns in one particular plane. This is known as polarized light. Polarization property is used in making polarizing filters which cancels light coming from a particular direction. It reduces glares coming from flat surface, thus making colors like blue and sky more dominant.
Do